Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom to the hopeful elect. And today, I just want to hit at the fact how, the entire world needs Esau gone, right? But only the Lord's elect realize that now. It isn't going to be until the Lord, it's not going to be until later, right? When the Lord actually comes, destroys Esau, and people experience the kingdom of heaven, that they realize Esau was the problem. This is Mark chapter 13, verse 19. For in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which the Most High created unto this time, neither shall be. Right? Going into that time of unparalleled trouble, the time of Jacob's trouble, right? Mainly for the children of Israel, but the other nations are going to feel it as well, right? Dealing with, the ones over here in America, mostly. Verse 20, and except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days, right? So if the Lord didn't shorten the days that basically, Esau was able to cause hell, no flesh should be saved. Why? Because that's just how wicked these people are. That if the Lord didn't do something, the whole world would be through. Them and their obsession with trying to gain power, with trying to become, God, would cause them to ultimately destroy the entire world. It's like, for example, let's say you leave children at home, right? And let's say one represents a nation, right? And you have this one child there just causing hell, just breaking shit, destroying the home. And another child is basically trying to contact, one of the adults, or contact the mother or father or older sibling or something, to basically, telling them to come home, right, before you don't have a home too, right? Because this one kid has already set something on fire, right? And it's just burning. So the other kid is just trying to hurry and get an adult home, right, before there's nothing to come home to. And that kid would be likened unto, the Lord's elect, basically hastening the day of the return of Yahweh Shai. Because Esau, they've already kindled this fire on the earth, and not literal, but in means of destroying the earth. And if the Lord doesn't return soon, right, as it reads, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, right, the chosen remnant of the Lord, he hath shortened the days. Going back to the main point, the world needs Esau gone, man. But only the elect that the Lord has chosen realize that now. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 1. Warnings and instructions. He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And this earth is mourning. Because the wicked are in power, because this is the rulership of Esau Edom. If you look on the news, there is nothing but death, nothing but displeasure, and nothing but misery. Why? Because the wicked are in authority, man. The wicked beareth rule. Esau is ruling the world. And that's why the world needs Esau gone. Because when the Lord comes to take Esau out of the way, take them out of authority, and that's when true peace will be on the earth. This is Micah chapter 4, verse 1 reads, peaceful latter days, right? Because these are the peaceful latter days where Yahweh Shai is the ruler, right? Israel is in authority. The righteous are in authority, right? As we just read, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. This is verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, shall be established in the top of the mountains. Right? A mountain going into a government, because ultimately the government of Israel will be that number one ruling government on the earth. Again, that's going to happen after Esau gets taken out, after the heathens get taken out of power. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us his ways, Slakia, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Right? So these other nations are going to come inquire about the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, because they're going to have to, right? As it reads, for the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, because we're going to enforce our laws. It's going to be the law of the land in the kingdom of heaven. But only Israel, right, the ones who are going to be made perfect, we're already going to be able to keep the laws perfectly. These other nations aren't. They're still going to be sinning, but that's where we come in, doing the judging, so on and so forth. For the law shall go forth of for the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, and he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Right? So, it's painting a picture of the people basically turning their weapons for war into weapons for like farming, agriculture purposes, symbolizing the peace that will be brought upon the earth, because you're not going to need these these weapons for war anymore. We're not going to need guns. We're not going to need missiles, so on and so forth, because it's going to be a time of peace, a time of everlasting peace, a time of rejoicing, right? Which can only be brought through the reign of Israel on the earth. Now, the Lord's elect, right? They see this. They already know that this is what's coming. The rest of the world doesn't. The rest of the world doesn't see, the latter end. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, we already see it, right? And we're hastening that. Now, it also parallels this, right, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. It reads, a remnant prepared, and in that day 7 women shall take Salakia. Chapter 5, verse 1. Chapter 2, verse 1. Salakia, once more. It's Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Right? So again, that's the type of peace that Yahweh Shai is going to bring to the world, to the earth, once he brings Esau down. Right? And that's why Yahweh Shai is also known as what? The Prince of Peace. Right? We read that in Isaiah 9 and start here at verse 6. For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given. Right? Who is this us? Who is Isaiah speaking to? Israel. Right? That right there, that first sentence letting you know why Yahushua came. It was only for the Israelites. You have people out here saying that everyone can be saved. No. Everyone of Israel, right, that the Lord has preordained to be saved can be saved. Right? They are not all Israel which are of Israel. If all of the Israelites can be saved, why would any of the other nations be able to be saved? For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. Right? Again, the government, the mountain, Jerusalem or Israel is going to be that highest mountain. Why? Because it's going to be upon Yahushua's shoulders, man. This is his kingdom, his dominion, that was promised and given to him by the Heavenly Father. And through belief on him, right, in his sacrifice, we were given the opportunity to take part in that dominion as joint heirs. And the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Right? Now, that people could confuse this with the Heavenly Father, but no, this is the Everlasting Father, right? Because Yahushua is a Father. Scriptures speak about how through Yahushua, the Most High created these things, created everything that we see, right? The worlds, the animals, so on and so forth. The Lord basically gave Yahushua the blueprints, right? And with the help of the angels, they set everything in motion. So the mighty power, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, man, the Prince of Peace, Yahushua, only he can bring true peace, right? And we jump 2 chapters ahead, it paints a picture of just how peaceful Yahushua will make the world. It's Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6. It reads, "The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asps," right, being a snake. "And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek." Right? Now this here is speaking about what? The Israelite foreigners. "And his rest shall be glorious," because only Israelites are going to seek for Yahushua. Again, he only came for them. But point being, right, how it's naming how a wolf, right, would dwell with a lamb, a leopard will lie with a baby goat, right, a young cow, and you have a cow, a lion, right, playing with a little child, and how a little child will be able to stick his hand in a den of snakes and nothing will happen, right? Basically symbolizing the peace, man. A baby playing with these wild animals considered to be dangerous, right? And no one's saying anything, no one's batting an eye, no one's worried, right? Because everything is going to be okay. Painting the picture of the peace that the Lord will bring to the world, man. It's like, see, here, this is a perfect depiction, right? So you see how you have a child. Now just imagine that tiger was an actual tiger, right? That bear was an actual bear. You got a kangaroo and the little thing. Imagine all of these were actual real ferocious beasts, right? And you have here that child, he looks about 10, 7 or so. Imagine he's like 3, and this 3-year-old is leading a pack of wild animals. That's the picture that is being painted in these verses. But it's painting that to symbolize how there will be no worries, right? No fear of danger, because the peace that Yahweh Shai is going to bring on the earth, especially for the nation of Israel, right? As it says, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, right? Going into the land of Israel, right? The people of Israel. Ultimately, the entire world will experience this peace, except for Esau, right? Because they're going to be wiped out. And in order to live in a world like this, Esau has to be wiped out. They have to be taken down. They have to be taken down out of that seat of authority. Because again, as we read in Proverbs, they're the wicked. And when they beareth rule, the people mourn. When they beareth rule, the earth is destroyed, man. I remember Trump saying, let me see. He quoted something like how they're going to bring, how America, right, would bring peace through strength. Peace through strength. Donald Trump has used the phrase peace through strength in numerous statements and speeches to summarize his foreign policy approach. One key quote where he used it is, "The United States is fulfilling its destiny as peacemaker, but it is peace through strength," right? And that here shows you how the devil wants to be like the Most High. Because the Lord, when he returns, he's going to surely show what it means to create peace through strength when he comes to show his power and take these devils out. Now, so Donald Trump said the United States is fulfilling its destiny as peacemaker, when really their destiny is to be destroyed. Their destiny is to show the world what wickedness is, and ultimately why you shouldn't be wicked. That's why scriptures, speak of Esau as the son of perdition, the son of destruction. Actually, let's go to that. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? Esau, Edom, the son of destruction, because that's all they cause. Again, going back to the example in the beginning, they're the kid in the house that set some shit on fire, breaking all the glasses, just destroying the home, right? And if an adult doesn't return soon, there won't be a home to come home to, because all Esau knows is still kill and destroy, rape, rob, and murder. Let's jump down to verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out the way. Right? So the mystery of iniquity was already at work. But Yahweh Shai, which is he who letteth, Yahweh Shai was letting it happen. Right? Because it wasn't time for them to be revealed yet, until he be taken out of the way. Right? So when that time came and Yahweh Shai was to, basically allow the wicked, who the wicked are, right? What are their goals? What is their plan? When all of that stuff was meant to be revealed, then it was revealed, right? And we know that wasn't later until what? Our time. Verse 8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. What's the spirit of the Lord's mouth? His prophecy, right? When the Lord sets something in motion, when he says something is going to happen, it's going to happen. The prophecies are what the Lord said would happen. Some have happened yet, some haven't, right? And the prophecy of Esau's destruction, their complete annihilation, Hasn't happened yet, but guess what? It's prophecy, meaning it will happen. Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right? The brightness of the Lord's coming, because again, he's going to show what it truly means to bring peace through strength. The Lord is going to come and, destroy Esau's kingdom, right? And bring this world down, right? This current rulership, this current age down with so much power that everyone will have to acknowledge it, right? You're going to have no choice but to acknowledge, okay, this is God, right? This is a God. This is the true power of a God. It's Romans chapter 9, verse 22. It reads, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of the wrath fitted to destruction, right? The vessels of the wrath fitted to destruction, Esau, Edom. They were fitted to be destroyed, right? But the Lord endured them, endured all their chaos, endured their torment of Israel, endured their torment of the world, right? Endured all the wickedness that they've done with long suffering, just so he can make his power known when he destroys them, when he sends his son down to take them out. Again, he's going to display so much power that everyone will have to acknowledge the Lord, man. As it says in Isaiah chapter 2, let's see. So Isaiah chapter 2, we can start here at verse 12. A day of reckoning coming. So Isaiah chapter 2, verse 12. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low, and upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and upon all the oaks of Bashan, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, and upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all the pleasant pictures, right? Basically emphasizing the height, right? The scale, going into the people of stature, right? The people in the high places, the high governments, right? Ultimately, those will be the proud, right? The lofty, those who are lifted up high, who view themselves as high, right? All the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of man shall be made low. Because the Lord is going to put an end to that pride. And the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Yahweh B'Shem Abishai alone shall be exalted in that day. So people are going to have no choice. The Lord is going to display so much power that they're going to have no choice but to acknowledge it, man. Have no choice but to acknowledge Yahweh B'Shem Abishai. No choice but to acknowledge his prophets, right? Acknowledge them as, acknowledge what they were saying as the truth, right? Because everything that they've been speaking has come to pass. Nobody believed them, right? Except for the Lord's elect. But it ended up coming to pass. So they're going to have to acknowledge all of that. Now from here, let's go to the book of Obadiah. It's chapter 1. Start here at verse 15. The day of the Lord and the future. It's Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15. For the day of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Abishai, is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, right, Israel, Jerusalem, which is a people before it's a place, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been, right? Because at the end of the day, all of these other nations have touched Israel. They've touched the apple of the Lord's eye, right? Let's get First Maccabees. Chapter 2. Start here at verse 10. Her glorious vessels, Slack at verse 9, 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom, right, and gotten of her spoils? So what nation has not, right? And the answer is none, because we've been subject unto all these nations before. Every nation has had a part in the downfall of Israel, in the subjection of Israel, in the torment of Israel. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 24. We start here at verse 23. It's Luke chapter 21, verse 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Captive into all nations, man. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Right? These Gentiles going into the other nations, in which this is taking place now. Our land is being trodden down by the Gentiles, trodden down by the so-called small hats, right? It's going to say small hats, the people in our land pretending to be us, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? The time of the heathen rulership be fulfilled. But main point being, and shall be led away captive into all nations, right? So going back to Obadiah, all the nations have touched Israel, man, and they're going to pay for it, right? Scriptures say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. We just read all nations, captive into all nations, man. And that's exactly what's going to happen. All these other nations, they're going to be subject under us in the kingdom of heaven. Let's get a couple on that. It's Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. Israel's taunt, for the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Now here the strangers are going into other Israelites scattered, right, cleaving unto the house of Jacob, in which this starts mentally, right, because we were once strangers, and now we're cleaving to the house of Jacob, cleaving to this truth, cleaving to our heritage, cleaving to our God. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, right? In this, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, speaking about the heathens delivering Israelites to their land, right? And we're going to get some scriptures on that, but continuing, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai, for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, right? All these nations, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So all these nations are going to be subject unto us, under us. It's Isaiah chapter 66, verse 20. We get straight to the point. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai out of all nations, upon horses and in chariots and in litters and upon mules and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. Right? So the Lord is going to have all these heathen, not all of them, but these heathen within these scattered far out places throughout the world, and have them deliver his people to him, right, as an offering. And it even goes into that in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13, where the first couple verses of 2nd Ezra chapter 13 goes into the Lord making war with the militaries of this world and destroying them, right? And afterwards, Afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, that being Yahushai, and called unto him another peaceable multitude, that peaceable multitude going into his elect, the elect of the nation of Israel. And there came much people unto him, right? This is a different much people, whereof some were glad, right? Those who were of the elect, those were the ones that were glad. Some were sorry, right? Scriptures speak about in Daniel how, let's go grab it. It's Daniel chapter 12 verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, right? And some to shame and everlasting contempt. Basically going to the Lord's elect and those who weren't. Whereof some were glad, the elect, and some were sorry, right? Those were the ones who, who woke up to that everlasting shame and contempt, man. They were sorry for what they've done, right? They realized their wrongs and the reason that they weren't of the Lord's elect. They were sorry for their wickedness, right? Speaking about the nation of Israel. And some of them were bound, right? These other nations, remember, they're going into slavery. And others, some brought of them that were offered, as we read. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations, upon horses and in chariots and in litters and upon mules and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Avashai, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. It's speaking about the same thing here. And the others, some brought of them that were offered. Then I was sick through great fear, and I awake and said. So going back to 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, right? That being those offered. The people, these other nations, taking them, the Israelites within these other nations, and taking them to the Lord as an offering, as like the Israelites used to offer unto the Lord, as it put it in Isaiah 66:20. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors, right? See, Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1, the exaltation of the afflicted. It's Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Avashai, is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. Right? The meek being Israel. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, right, the Israelites, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Avashai, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old wastes, they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers, right, going into the other nations, shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Why? Because they're going to be our slaves. These strangers, the other nations, we're going to put them in slavery, right? The roles are going to reverse in the kingdom of heaven. But once they serve their 1,000 years, they're going to be allowed to go back into their lands, right? To have their own kings and rulers and so on and so forth. But they're still going to be tributaries and subject under Israel, right? Remember, we're going to be that number one mountain, but not Esau. Right? When all the other nations go back into their lands, Esau's seed is being destroyed. So let's go back to the book of Obadiah. Here, verse 17. It's Obadiah chapter 1 verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, not any remaining. For the Lord has spoken it, letting you know that this is future prophecy. The Lord's likening Israel unto a flame that burns, the stubble, Esau, where none of them remains. Because after their 1,000 years of slavery is up in the kingdom, there won't be a need for them anymore. Let's get Psalms chapter 21, verse 10. Psalms chapter 21 verse 8. Thine hand shall find out all, and this is a psalm of David, right? Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee, right? The right hand of the Lord being Yahushai. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their fruit shalt thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from among all the children of men. Right? Whose seed is going to be destroyed from among the children of men? Esau, Edom. Because again, there won't be any need for them anymore. Right? They serve their purpose. Their purpose in the movie that the Lord put together was to be the wicked. Right? Their purpose was to, the Lord used them as his sword, as scriptures put it. Let's grab that. Psalms 17 and 13. It reads, Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, Salakia, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Right? Because whenever Israel went off, the Lord will use these other nations to punish us. And Esau, right, being the wicked, known as the Lord's sword, was the main nation that the Lord used to punish Israel. But once the Lord comes back and delivers us, and the laws are in our inward parts, we aren't going to need to be punished anymore, because we're going to be made perfect as Yahushua was. So there's not going to be a need for Esau, right? Let's get Proverbs chapter 16, verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Again, that day of evil. They're the son of perdition. Esau was made to come up against Jacob, to come up against Israel, to persecute us, to show the world what wickedness is, and ultimately to be destroyed by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Again, going back to Romans 9 and 22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering, so like the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? That was their end. The entire time was to be destroyed. They showed the world what wickedness is and why we shouldn't be wicked, because this is what's going to happen to you. And after that was done, they're no longer needed. They serve their purpose. So unlike the other nations, right? Once their years of slavery are up, so are their years of life. Because the world won't need wickedness in it anymore, right? So the world needs Egon, right? The world needs Esau gone. But only the Lord's elect realize it now. Everyone else isn't going to realize it until they see the change of when Esau is gone, right? The change of when Esau isn't in power. But with that being said, once more, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bracha HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Lord willing, this video was edifying and informative in some way, shape, or form. And shalom to the hopeful elect.